Hello, everyone. Welcome to SOCS episode 32. Woo! 32 episodes. All right. I'm Olivia,
I'm Sid.
I'm Skylar.
and today we have mostly reactions, but we still got things to talk about. But first of all, Sid, how was your BTS meal?
It was really, really good, actually. Obviously, I love my McNuggies, so I was happy with the meal anyways, but the sauces were really good. And I think it's kind of cool that they brought sauces that we don't normally have here in the US, but specifically the sweet chili was my favorite. It's really good. It's exactly what it sounds like. It starts off sweet and then kind of gets like has like a kick of heat at the end, which I really liked. And then the Cajun one was kind of like a seasoned like Dijon or honey mustard kind of thing. It wasn't as hot, but it was still really good. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
enjoyed
only
it.
let me pick one at the McDonald's I went to, so I got the Cajun.
Mm. Yeah, I like the sweet chili more. That was
Mhm.
my favorite of the two.
Nice, nice. Okay. Well, first of all, which we'll talk about Kingdom a little later, but we've got some kind of big wet east K-pop meets Western celebrity connections to this past week. We got Ryan Reynolds talking to Stray Kids about their performance referencing Deadpool on Kingdom from the previous week. And then we got announced that Emma Stone, in order to be promoting Cruella on Disney Plus, will be on the Jessi show to review. So, what we kind of were interested in talking about today was when these K-pop idols and American celebrities start connecting and start talking over social media. Is it the fans facilitating that, or Ryan Reynolds kind of stumbling upon this Kingdom thing by himself? Or do we think maybe it's a little bit more constructed and it's the agency kind of behind connections and them kind of feeding off of each other? So, what are your thoughts?
It's crazy because I think it's like that argument where it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's probably a little bit of both. I think that maybe there's real interest from artists because I know Emma Stone is actually a fan of K-pop. I think she's a fan of BTS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I talk about that. And I'm sure her agent is like, "Oh, this is a good move for you. I approve." It's kind of like I think in some ways people are like that it's wrong, but I'm like it's kind of exactly what they do over here. They're just doing it to K-pop now, but no celebrity over here really does things in just like you know not in the interest of like money. For the most
Yeah.
part, there's always an interest of like money and monopolizing, on clout,
Mm-hmm.
maybe from something that we're talking about. So they do it all the time in America. So I'm just like, I think it's seen in a different light because it's in a different country, but I think it's like similar to how they act here. So probably both, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely not like a wrong or right issue, because I just think that's how cross promotion works. But it's definitely interesting to see now that America didn't used to like pay attention to K-pop as something that was, like they've been like sort of, like letting Blackpink and BTS kind of on TV a little bit, but I feel like this year and after the quarantine, well, we're still in it, but you know what I mean, like as COVID kind of got us all on the internet and K-pop really figured out how to continue making concerts and making money and things. I think America's really paying attention now to how K-pop's figured out how to monetize, and I think they're seeing them as a real legitimate media giant, in a way that we've never looked at any other country. We like technically, yeah, Bollywood and Nollywood make more movies than we do, like numbers wise, but they don't make the same kind of money that an Avengers movie would ever make. So to see, someone like BTS generating $1 billion for their home economy off of Dynamite, that's something America's kind of like forced to pay attention to. So I think that's kind
Yeah.
of what's going on, and it's like either we compete or we help each other out. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it has to do a lot with the fans. I think that they're starting to recognize, like, also, like, same in the monetization, because fans do buy more physical albums and different merchandise to do with these artists than they do for regular Western artists.
Hmm.
I do think, like, the presence of K-pop fans is kind of unavoidable on social media platforms now. Like, even on Instagram, you
Mhm.
like one picture of one random K-pop person, and then your entire For You page is just Jungkook.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
think that, like, the power of the fans and how truly popular this phenomenon is worldwide, not just big in the West, making them global because we have like a global stage, but making them popular everywhere
Hmm.
and like catering to their fans everywhere in any way they can, and making it very like seem like a very personal connection between the artists and the fans is what really drives the force of like the K-pop industry.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
really interesting. They've figured out a problem that I think the West was dealing with for a long time with the influencer thing, like an Addison Rae kind of person, right? Addison Rae is kind of famous for being famous. You know what I mean? Like she just
Mhm.
kind of like exists as this entity. But she sells a lot of products because, influencers tend to sell more things sponsorship wise because you have a more of a personal trust with them, as marketers have found. So what the idol kind of has done in the 21st century is really figure out how to combine the closeness and the intimacy of an influencer with the talent of and glamour of a traditional celebrity. So it makes it really lucrative for American marketers to look at that because you know the music industry has been making all of its money in the last 10 years off of touring, and as we've seen, touring could stop at any time and you could lose a ton of money, but K-pop kept afloat because of light sticks and because of brand deals and because of physical album sales, like we said. So I think it's definitely in American industry's full interest to see how to get fan participation and passion that K-pop fans have and kind of study that and figure it out.
Do you guys think it is possible for a Western or like American artist to emulate the same fan proximity that K-pop artists have? Because I guess that's like what's the key, like the secret sauce. Like, do you think now that we've learned that's possible for us, for a Western artist to do? Because I don't know, you know?
I think Taylor
It
Swift's the
is,
closest.
Yeah.
I think it is possible, but it is also different culturally because we're very individualistic and our artists themselves are very individualistic. They have like they're very personal in a way that's separate from K-pop. Not like in personal in connecting with fans, but personal in terms of keeping their own privacy and having a separation between that life and their real life, which doesn't really exist in the K-pop industry. Like, because I think of how communal their culture is, the part of like the how close you feel to the idols is because of that sense of community. Like, we feed off you, you feed off us.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's like really what it is with BTS, what they push. Like, they're like, what's your inspiration for writing music? They're always like ARMY, like our fans. They're always the inspiration. It's this back and forth that they create that makes it seem like a dependent relationship that really makes people feel like they're a part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't really necessarily know that American artists will want to do that. Maybe to an extent, like you have the hotties, and the hotties are loyal and they ride for Meg, like we out here. But I just don't know that she would take, that a step further even, because I don't like having people in my business. I would never really want to be famous. And I know a lot of people feel like that. And it is a lot of pressure. Like, there's a lot of attention on you when you build an audience that way, because people care about almost everything you do because they feel like they have a right to care about the things you do in your life. And that also creates its own difficulties for those artists.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is Nicki's fans called again? They're kind of like
Barbs.
that. Barbs
Barbs.
are kind of like that with Nicki, and they ride for her.
That's true. Like the pop girls have slowly been building fandoms like that. I think Arianators are pretty loyal. I would say Taylor Swift fans are the most loyal, and they're pretty much the main fandom in America that buys physical albums. And they'll just and it's not like they're even getting like photo books or photo cards or anything with the albums. They're literally just buying stacks of like jewel case CDs and just having them just for album sales. I think that the competitiveness of K-pop, kind of almost like feeling like they're like a sports team almost that you root for, but the competition is the fandom rather than like, yeah, the artist goes and they do this song and they put it up on the music show, but also the fans have to vote and they have to collect these votes and they have to mobilize. And I think that it's a weird thing. It's like they're an athlete, an influencer, and a pop star all in one.
Yeah,
it's very fascinating.
I think it is the competitiveness that's like a big part of it, because otherwise it would just be like supporting any other artist. But it's like you have some, it's like the stakes are raised or something. Like you have something to like fight for.
Yeah.
At least from what. So it's interesting. I don't know if we can quite emulate that.
Especially because we don't even have we don't have music shows here anyways, and our music shows have never been like competitive like that.
Yeah.
And yet we still find that like artists within the same genres, like specifically female rappers, their internet fights are crazy. I would never get stuck in a fight between a Barb and a Hottie and a Kitten. That sounds like death. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That sounds like social Twitter suicide, and I would never, ever,
sounds crazy.
ever do that.
Barb with Kitten.
That's a Barb for Nicki, Kittens for Doja, Hotties for Meg. I'm probably forgetting some other ones.
It's just them, though. It's just the fans, because the artists are not. I mean, I guess technically
I don't remember
one
what
of them.
parties fans are.
I feel
One
like
of them is like,
Doja kind of does a little bit something not necessarily inspired, but something similar in that, you know, she streams and she's kind of a social, like she kind of feels like she's one of us because she came from the internet. So I feel like people have this kind of like rooting for her kind of fight with Doja. That's a personal connection. I think we could do, you know, do things similar. But it would be different than like having shows like Run BTS or Level Up Project or things like that, and more from like engaging people with social media, with like Twitch channels or YouTube channels or things like that. And Google and Twitch are both have initiatives now to get celebrities interested in making more YouTube videos and making more Twitch channels. And their algorithms favor that kind of content anyways. So I think that's kind of the way celebrities going in general. But I think K-pop definitely was ahead of the curve.
For sure. Yeah, that's how they're going to do it, because it needs to be relatable. Because you know how America, if anything seems too fake or too industry plant or too anything, they're off of it. So it needs to more about the artist delving into being like relatable. I'm one of you.
Yeah. And they still haven't quite figured out the YouTube thing yet, because it still seems a little like overproduced, because, you know, they've got a cameraman and an editor. They never like started from nothing and then rose to that, you know, like a lot of other YouTubers.
Sweetie's is good though.
You like her YouTube channel?
It's great.
I don't like The Rock or Will Smith's YouTube channel though. That sucks.
They're actors. It's different. I like Matthew McConaughey's. His well, it's so I've only been watching a bit, but
I like Jack Black's. That's the best one to me of the celebrities.
Who's like the girl that plays Captain Marvel? What's her name?
Brie Larson.
I saw her. Yeah, I like her channel. I saw it the other day. I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah. And then I found out that they're like paying celebrities, Google's paying celebrities like $5 million to start a YouTube channel.
Damn, that's a lot of
So
money.
I'm like, damn, it's not even that they liked YouTube and wanted to get closer to their fans or anything. It's really just like, oh, you know, I like it. At least with K-pop, they're up front with the fact that they signed a contract and this is all publicity and this is a TV show, and you know what I mean?
I mean, but you get that like personal feeling from V Lives because they choose to go on there. And let me tell
Yeah.
you, it'll be like 8 months in between a good Jungkook V Live. My man's really be going ghost and not caring.
Yeah, V Live and Instagram Live have been huge for K-pop stars. I like that though.
Yeah.
It's fun. It feels intimate.
The
Or
Instagram
bubble.
lives are big. I don't really watch K-pop idols on Instagram Live. I usually watch like my Western artists when they go Instagram Live. Like whenever Meg's live, I'm like, well, but let me tell you, I get a shiny little notification. Taemin and Key, I'm out. Those are my men. I love a good shiny live. They're hilarious.
Yeah. I have my notifications on for when any member of Red Velvet goes live on Instagram. So
You don't even be knowing what they saying. They be speaking straight Korean, and I'd be like, yup. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Oh, you're laughing?
Yeah. I watch Marks sometimes. Like, you know, I don't follow many K-pop artists on Instagram, but like, yeah, the ones I do, they sometimes go live. Sometimes.
It's my whole Instagram now. I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I log in and it's like a picture of Young Jae, and I'm like, oh my god, my 74th boyfriend posted. Amazing.
Exactly. So, another kind of thing about like Western cross promotion with K-pop, we had BTS on the cover of Rolling Stone, but fans were a little upset because they ended up not putting in the individual interviews into the actual issue, and they kind of instead took that space to talk about the K-pop industry in general. And then McDonald's had the BTS meal, but there were no photo cards. A lot of places in the US didn't have the packaging. So it kind of felt like a lot of people were getting kind of ripped off almost with the promise of getting more BTS than they actually did get. So, you know, this is kind of like the uneven side of the clout chasing thing. I think BTS definitely gets it the most because they're the biggest. So what are your thoughts on it, Sid? You're the army here, so
yeah. I didn't purchase the magazine, but I did see what they were talking about. I do wonder like how much of the actual magazine was like actually just BTS content versus how much was just about the K-pop industry in general. But yeah, I definitely see that overall. Like we were talking about a little bit earlier, and I agree that I think part of it is just because they want the average American, like non-K-pop fan to be able to pick up, you know, the new edition of Rolling Stone and be able to read it and it not just be, you know, completely devoted to a group that they may not know much about, and instead is more about an industry that they can learn from and is related to music in other ways beyond just the one group itself. But I obviously, like, as an army, as someone who really, well, I'm not a fan of Rolling Stone, but as someone who like really appreciates music and music publications, I definitely like in-depth interviews. Like if you're gonna make them the focus of it, put all of the light on them. Like let me into the artist's mindset and what they're thinking and their art and why they make creative decisions. Like I want to know that. That's the point of like a music magazine, in my opinion, is to let you know things about the artist and let you learn about them from a creative writing form rather than just listening to their music. You get to hear from them. So I do think that the interviews, the personal interviews, should have been included. They had snippets of it in the main article, but obviously like not having the full interviews is like kind of a letdown. But again, like I think it's just because they need to keep doors open for other readers that are just not just ARMY. But in doing that, you do alienate the actual fans.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a gamble.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You want to go?
I'm just thinking about it, and you just wonder where Rolling Stone is coming from, how they're thinking about it, because they may not be, when they're writing that for Rolling Stone, they do have a history. They may not be thinking about, we're writing this for the fans. We want to appeal to the fans. They actually might not be thinking about that at all. They may just be like, they're coming to Rolling Stone and we're going to translate it into the way that we would write them. You know what I mean? So it's like really interesting to me because you just don't know what they were thinking. Sometimes that just does happen. Like,
Yeah,
I've read articles.
Yeah, I think it was. Oh, yeah. You continue.
Yeah, I was just saying, I read articles from artists I like, and I read like I think I read a Rihanna article recently, and I was like, this isn't even an interview. I was shocked. It was like, it was hardly anything at all. It was just mostly photos, and they advertised it as like a very in-depth interview. It's just like you never know what you're gonna get depending on the publication. So yeah, I don't know.
There was a misunderstanding too between fans and Rolling Stone. I don't think it was supposed to be a BTS dedicated issue. I think they were supposed to be the cover star, and I think that the interview should have been on there. It just makes sense. They basically publicized this whole issue based on those individual interviews, and they should have put those in there. But I also think that it wasn't like a dedicated special issue. It was a normal issue of Rolling Stone, and they were the cover. So obviously other things were going to be in there. I just think they should have put more BTS in there. But I definitely think that, you know, it was a normal issue of the magazine and that they were the cover stars, you know? So, like, I think it definitely is a window to open up to talking about K-pop as an industry and how it's affecting our industry and the connections between that. But they should have included the other interviews, because otherwise, like, why would you do those interviews if you're not going to print them in the magazine? It just seems silly to me.
Because of the way they advertised it. I will see the advertisement was very specifically geared towards BTS and solely them. So I understand why people were confused when it was released.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's kind of, you know, like, it would be like if Elle magazine had not just said they're our cover star, Blackpink's our cover star, but it's the Blackpink issue, you know. But they were pretty clear that it was the cover, they had a story about Blackpink, and then it was still the rest of Elle magazine, you know. I think Rolling Stone was being intentionally confusing to get people to line up and buy them en masse.
Interesting.
I don't know, but it could have just been an expectation that I just know that they really went hard on how in depth those interviews were. It just felt weird for them to go so hard on those interviews and not print them. If that's especially if that's your cover star. The whole point of the cover star is to take up some space in the magazine. It doesn't have to be the whole thing, but it definitely should be in there. I do think though some people were just annoyed. It was probably like a lot of BTS poppers who were annoyed that K-pop was included in the whole thing at all. And I think it's a valid conversation to have in the magazine. So I'm not necessarily going to be mad about that. I just think that the individual interviews should have been posted. I mean, printed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it was like they had the main article and they used excerpts of the interviews, but they didn't include the interviews themselves.
Yeah, and those full ones should have definitely been in there.
I did, when you were saying that, I did want to make the point that, like, I would like to just read this article because, like, having excerpts of an interview in an entire article and just, like, discussing facets of things, like, that's very typical in a magazine interview. And I've read so many like that before. So I would just like to read it to see how it read because people were very offended. And I understand why, but I'm just, like, wondering, like, if it was, like, typical or if it was, like, really, like, out of left field. Because I read stuff like that all the time.
It's a good article, or the one article that I read was pretty good. Like, I did read, it was probably, like, 2 pages worth of writing.
Okay.
it seemed like they, were doing their best. There, as in all magazines, there were some things where you were like, why would you say it like that? Or like, why would you interpret something like that? There were those moments that were like, that's weird. But for the most part, it was okay. Yeah. Like, I don't think they were intending to treat the artist any type of way. There was a weird element where they were like, this is so foreign. And I was like,
sometimes they just say like quirky things, and maybe it was the voice of the person that wrote it. I'm not sure. I would like to read it because I'm just like,
yeah.
Honestly, we're talking about excerpts of an interview written in an entire article. That's like 50% of celebrity interviews that I've read for magazines.
I will say, Army's crazy. They're like the FBI. So they were pulling up all this released articles from the same writers. And I will say that I was like, strangely, they chose writers that don't generally write too well about BTS, or at least like it seems biased. Like this one of them was like this guy who was like, if you consider Super M is more culturally significant than BTS, because if you like take into account their sales of SHINee, NCT, and like all of the SM groups that each member comes from, then they're more culturally influential than BTS and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, that is a separate article. I do see why people would be like, why would you get this guy to work on the BTS article, though?
But, yeah.
It's probably because he's the one who knows about K-pop the most.
Yeah, that was going to say that.
That doesn't sound unreasonable to me. I think
he's the only one at Rolling Stone that probably writes about K-pop, so that's why.
That doesn't sound. I think this is a little bit of the. I don't want to be the bad guy here, but I think it's a little bit of the victim complex. Just a little bit.
No, yeah, I think that a lot of fans just wanted BTS. Period. The end. Yeah. I'm a multi, so I like a lot of different groups. I'm not necessarily holding grudges. But again, I do like to hear from each of the boys individually, because they have so much individual talent, and like their perspectives are very different, that I always think it's interesting to hear about them, especially because they're working on solo works specifically right now. A lot more, that I'm like, I would love to know what they're thinking.
Yeah, those solo interviews definitely should have been in the magazine. They could have spared a couple more pages for them. That just seems silly to not put them in there. It just feels like an incomplete version of the cover story. And I think that's the bigger issue, more so than the main article itself. Like, I think the article is probably fine. I think people were mostly upset that the individual interviews weren't there.
Oh, okay.
But the fact that they were like going through this guy's stuff and being like, he's shady, and
it's just context is everything, and sometimes I just feel like Twitter kind of does not care about the context of the situation or nuance. Not saying that this guy's in the right. I literally don't know anything about the situation. It's just sometimes like I question, just because like being on Twitter, the context is often like just left out.
Yeah.
Also, cancel culture is so big right now. And it's a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times misleading, especially when you look at the bigger picture of someone's character.
Yeah.
I think once people start really getting outside and getting reintegrated into normal human society, and we're not on Twitter all the time as our like main source of human communication, maybe these kind of like image public executions of cancel culture won't be so interesting to us anymore. At least a little bit, because I felt like during 2020 and this year, early part of this year, cancel culture has almost exponentially gotten bigger, and been more of a thing that like people have time to really participate in, like keyword searching someone's Twitter and go through like 5 years of it. I definitely think that's something I've seen on Stan Twitter, especially, get just out of control big. And it's a little worrisome, but it's definitely a product of the internet and how it works and having 140 characters to express yourself. But also, I think our generation, the younger part of our generation in particular, is not moderate about anything. They're not moderate in their politics. You know, they're either like full on communist or full on like fascist, and then like
so extreme.
And nuance is not a thing, and that's also because they're young. Obviously, nuance is not really a big part of their culture at the moment. I think as zillennials or cuspers or whatever you want to call us, we have a little bit. I know we have a little bit of a different perspective because we're a little older. But I definitely see the younger kids on Twitter being very combative.
Yeah, very, very true. I just would like to say, if any young kids are listening out there.
Oh, this isn't me trying to be like old man yells at cloud. This is just something
I know.
I've observed.
Well, this is me being old man yells at.
Yeah.
This isn't even me being old man. This is me being like big sister, which is weird to say because I am the youngest sibling. But I would like to say sometimes you see things online that lack context, and oftentimes they are the most extreme perspectives because that's what gets the most clicks, views, and engagement. That is not how the real world is all the time. So, I see young girls feel really discouraged and bad about themselves or their skin color or literally anything. They feel so insecure because they see all these like crazy opinions online, and like the world is more nuanced than that. I will say, like, it is not as harsh in a lot of ways as you think. So you can't experience life through, a keyboard and through online. You have to go out there and like feel it, meet different people. Sometimes I feel like they lack that and they get really, really sad and like really, really down. Not even just girls, just all the young, it's really hard on them these days.
Yeah, I don't think we were meant to see this many opinions at once.
For sure.
Like, in addition to that, like, I just think you have to, on the internet, if you're on the internet, you have to be able to think for yourself.
Yes.
Don't be a sheep. I hate when people herd like sheep onto like one thing just because someone does take that most extreme perspective, and then everyone interprets that as like truth and then just attack someone else. First of all, stop attacking people on the internet. Unless they're like overtly racist or like just completely something terrible. Maybe you are just misreading the context. Remember, we are writing on keyboards. This is not a person talking to you. You don't know the tone, the context. A lot of people have trouble with tone indicators. So let people explain to you their context. If you think like, whoa, that sounded weird, be like, yo, what did you mean by that? Because it could be completely different from what you think. But if you're like, yo, block, cancel, report so-and-so because blah, like that's just going to exacerbate a whole issue, okay? Got death threats in my inbox for the first time in the last 2 weeks, and I was blown away. I was like,
wow.
Yeah,
we're on the same level, Sid, now. We're both K-pop Twitter menaces.
Like, they were really like, yo, you should go do this, this, and this. And I was like, wow, you know what? That's crazy. I've never gotten
a K-pop Twitter death threat. I have gotten death threats before, but not from K-pop Twitter. But
this was K-pop Twitter. This was solo stans.
Oh my gosh. I got suspended.
Yeah. So like I'm just saying it's never that serious, especially when it comes to K-pop. I'm sorry, but like the way some of these kids move online is actually concerning. Like, please touch some grass. Please look someone else in the eye at least once a day and be like, wow, that's a human being. I should treat them like a human being instead of like assuming behind a screen that no one's going to get hurt from the things you say. Like, I just think people don't put stock in their words when they're written out. But when you are forced to read comments and stuff like that, it has an effect, and not a good one. And you can be like, well, I didn't do it. I was just here in my room. If like, you can be held liable for stuff like that too, by the way, online. So just please be careful.
Yeah. She's
please
nice.
Be safe.
You wish death on me. When she told me that, I was like, yeah, honestly, I might have alerted the authorities, because wishing death on someone is very insane. And I'm like kind of paranoid, about the internet. Yeah. It's just weird. Like people
but you also never know what someone's going through. Like you never know.
Man, I got my first internet death threat in middle school. I'm used to this shit.
I'm not. I'm like an internet.
First time
I've been chronically on the internet since 2008, man. I was fighting with people about Sandy Hook and gun control, and they were like, I was like, we shouldn't have guns on everybody. This dude was like, I'm gonna shoot you for that, and I was like, well, that proves my point. Thank you very
Absolutely
much.
Not. Before Twitter, the last time I was on the internet was Tumblr, and I was on like Doctor Who Tumblr.
Yeah, I was on Tumblr.
I was not Doctor Who didn't. Yes, that was me. Say it. So
I didn't say anything.
Not
Doctor Who subculture.
Shut up. So I was definitely not on the side of Twitter that was bullying things. I was on the side of Twitter that got bullied, but not sadly, gladly, I was never bullied. Now they're gonna bully me.
I was on aesthetic Twitter.
Yeah, I was on a different side of Tumblr, a different subculture.
Look at them bragging about the side of Tumblr that they reside.
I'm not bragging.
I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to.
Too.
Look, man, I was still on Tumblr. I was still a weird kid, but I was definitely on like
high school in Tumblr. It was all the rage, like sophomore year.
On like fandom Tumblr, even that.
Yes, it was.
Only like
the
only the hipster kids and like the Doctor Who kids had Tumblr at this point. But like
if you were like hipster kids.
Yeah, if you were like normal and like social, you didn't have Tumblr.
You didn't have a Tumblr. I
was normal as look out.
Harry
Potter. But you were a little artsy, let's be real.
I wore black for like a whole year in Creepers before they were cool.
Yeah.
Not the Creepers. I never even had those. I was definitely going through the pop punk thing.
I was trying to be grunge, okay? I was really into
Sky Ferreira.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, it was
you
bad.
You were doing Sky Ferreira, and I was doing like all the girls that hang around like Mac DeMarco, so I was wearing like windbreakers and shit.
The only thing I wasn't doing was like smoking cigarettes. I was just like, I was just wearing
smoking is bad.
Let's be safe on the internet. Let's be kind to other people.
I'll do thumbnail.
No, unless you're a Twice fan, though. Some of that out of pocket shit you do is really funny.
I'm dead.
Guys, we should all do hearts for the thumbnail. No?
We don't get to pick the thumbnail, but sure.
Everyone said, what was I gonna say? Basically, just be nice, okay? Everyone always talks about how BTS is all anti-bullying, and then armies get on Twitter and they're like, well, that's BTS, not me. I'm like, damn, y'all, we can't just be nice. So, especially because y'all are scary. I'm a part of you, and I'm still afraid of you guys because you flock. As soon as you interpret something and you decide that's what someone meant, it's over. It's over for you. It's over.
Yeah.
Cut the cameras, it's over.
The cameras.
So, boom.
They start marching.
Little internet safety video included in our video.
I'm so sick of this fake love.
Trumpet. She's so sick of this joke that we keep telling.
Just to be clear, they love that song. Okay,
I do love that song.
But we also love that joke.
It would be your battle rallying cry.
The joke is funny.
You know, like in the American Revolution, they have a drummer in the back. That would be the person with the speaker playing "Fake Love."
If they're doing drums, we'd definitely be marching to "On." You guys are way off.
You guys are literally called Army. So any armies, why would you ever take offense to that?
Yeah, Yeah.
Army for a
I
reason.
don't take offense.
Not
I'm
you.
definitely
Respect
an
the
Army
core.
multi. Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
This is the wrong hand.
Shit.
Attention!
You're an idiot.
RM reporting for duties.
Let's
Cook
stream.
lover six-
love. What does that even mean?
Stream now.
Well, who knows? Who knows? Who
Soldiers,
knows?
move out. Soldiers,
You're an
move out.
A-tiny. What does
Let's
that mean?
stream.
You're short, Skylar. You're short, so you're an A-teeny.
First of all, I am short, but also I'm barely in 18. I love
Junk
them.
cookie lover
But I
Cloud
would call myself like a
96
fan.
reporting for duty, sir.
No, do the streaming battle call. What would that look like?
What, a streaming battle call? Oh
Mhm.
man. It's time to stream.
You guys are embarrassing. Can we move on? What is this topic?
Okay, I don't know
Time for
about that.
Kingdom.
Swipe. What's the next topic,
Let's talk
please?
about Kingdom. So this week was the continuation of the No Limits challenge, which they had literally no rules, no limits, could do whatever they want. And this week we had the boys, B2B, SF9, and there was one more. ATs did their performances this week. So, what are our thoughts on the performances before we get into who won the challenge?
Skylar, you can go first.
Okay. So like a setup. Okay.
Except she watched it.
Yeah, I watched it.
She watched it because right before we were supposed to film this, I asked them if they watched it, and neither of them did. For context.
Okay, moving on. Yeah, so I would say my favorites from this time were Icon, SF9, and Stray Kids. I think Stray Kids had the skits that they chose to go back and forth, with their performance. It was great. I think they had the best performance, at least the one I enjoyed watching. Icon was just fun, as usual. Of course, and also they had Lisa, and I love Lisa. And SF9, the cover they did of Taemin was really good. And I love that they gave, the background dancers some costuming, some hair. Rarely do people spend time on that, especially in productions that aren't like a big deal. But obviously, I guess Kingdom, they go all out. So they did, and I really loved that. And then, I have to talk about ATs because I love ATs. ATs was, let me get myself together. ATs was dramatic. It was great. Like, they're always great. I think because they commit so much and everything they do was so flawless, people, when you look at them, it looks like they're outperforming people. Even though people are performing just as hard, they're just doing it in a different way and interpreting it differently. But I mean, they're so great. I can't really argue with anything they do. This just wasn't my taste. And I do like ATs, as Olivia said as well. I think we both like them better outside of the show, just doing their ATs thing. This is just very dramatic and theatrical. They tend to take that role on the show. So this performance wasn't my favorite, and I'll just leave it there. But yeah, that's all I got to say about Kingdom this episode.
Okay.
I can go next.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm only commenting on 2. Just because I had the most thoughts about 2.
Mm-hmm.
One would be SF9 and their cover of Move. I will say a huge Taemin stan. Like huge. And I love Shiny, but specifically Taemin is what got me into Shiny. So Taemin is the king. And I will say I did not like this rendition of Move very much. I liked parts of it a lot. Like, I loved the runway scene where he was on the treadmill. Like, I thought that was amazing. I love those visuals. I I really liked the costuming for it. Like you said, I thought it was beautiful. I thought they did a great job capturing the essence of it. The parts that really took me out because of like the essence of the song Move is very like suave and sensual, and like it's soft but not like in a, I don't know how to describe it, but I wanted that, and I was given an EDM like,
Oh, that one
version
breakdown.
of that.
That one breakdown was
like,
out of nowhere.
Yeah, I really, that part really took me out. And like also the rapping parts, I didn't think fit with the overall essence of Move and like the song itself. Like I think a slow, sensual rap or like talking more verse would have fit a lot better than like a harder rap verse in Move. I thought a lot of their movements were great, but again, like it's Taemin, so like I have a hard time watching other people cover his dances to begin with because the way he moves is so unique to him, and those dances are so such they give off like his aura, and so like that one I value it because it's hard to do Taemin at all. That's like you're amazing for choosing that and for doing it in your own way. I just personally am like, it wasn't my favorite rendition of Move. So that's that. But I think SF9 is really talented. I'm glad that they were on the show. I'm glad they're getting way more exposure. And I'm excited to see what they do. And the other ones that I want to commentate on is just the boys, because I love them to death. They were obviously my favorite to watch this week because I love EXO, and I thought that their choreo out of all the groups was the best by far. I definitely think that their costuming was really good. Their concept was clear. They kept with like the snake and monster theme of the original music video, but they really made it their own. And the song itself, their live vocals were so good. Very, very strong all the way through, very consistent. Sunwoo and Eric's like rap parts that they wrote themselves fit in so well with the song, even though it was like its own thing, very like much to them. I also loved seeing Eric have like a significant line, like significant lines, and using his tone, like that really deep voice that he could pull off in this performance. So yeah, I was very impressed, very happy with the boys. It seemed like they had way more fun with this, and they were really proud of themselves. And I think their song is charting on like all of the apps in Korea currently, like Melon and everything. It's like in the top 10. So really happy for them. And they're clearly celebrating on Twitter. They've been posting like every freaking 20 minutes, 11 members. So I'm just really happy for them, and their performance was freaking amazing. I think everyone did a really good job. I don't think anyone was like lacking. I think all the concepts were really cool. But yeah, those were my takes.
Yeah, so for this week, yeah, AT's, B2B, the boys, and SF9. I think I'll just go through all of them, my thoughts. AT's was very dramatic, and I think Ode to Joy is just kind of like a corny pick for a classical music song anyways. So then, they're doing this kind of like hard, like, hip hop dancing, and then all of a sudden I hear this dude be like, oh, no, 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 no. I was like not prepared for that combo of Michael Jackson pop dancing with Ode to Joy. It just was very. Now, Michael could have pulled it off. I know he would have, but something about it just was very interesting. It was not my thing. It was very dramatic, but they were really good at doing what they did. It just wasn't. It just wasn't for me. You know what I mean?
They were the only group that did their own song, and that I respect. That was cool.
Yeah. But Beethoven Symphony No. 9 just kind of came out of left field to me. It was very confusion. Then there was SF9. I liked SF9 a lot, actually. I thought that one EDM part came out of left field, but other than that, I thought they did the kind of sexy, you know, gender bending kind of thing pretty well, actually, and I wasn't expecting that from them at all. I liked the costumes. I liked the set design. I liked that one a lot. I loved B2Bs. That one kind of shocked me how much I loved it. It was like La La Land themed, but the crew member was like in love with the actress, and I liked the story they told. I liked the set design. I liked the song. I was really impressed with that one. I really loved that one, actually, and it felt like a whole little musical in one little number, and that might have been my favorite one of the night. Oh, and then the boys. I thought this was gonna be my favorite because the boys are really good at covers, and I love EXO, and Monster's just my jam. But I think the way you felt about SF9 doing Move is kind of the way I felt about the boys doing EXO. Just for this one, because I've seen them cover other EXO songs that I really liked. But for Monster, I don't know. They hit the moves really hard. They did it all right. They did the costumes right. But it was just like, I don't know. I wanted to see EXO do it, you know? Maybe that's just like such a quintessential EXO song, but I've seen them do EXO covers I really liked. And I liked this one. There was nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't the standout to me, I guess. I liked everything I saw. It just was like, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just wasn't standing out to me. So for this episode, I think B2B actually was my favorite one, which I think is totally shocking to me because I never thought that would be my favorite one. No hate on B2B. It's just I don't think Kingdom was the right show for them. I think they're a great group. But I think what they did with this performance was really found their voice in doing these kind of bigger, showy productions, and instead of trying to directly compete, which I really liked. But overall for this challenge, it's definitely between iKON and Stray Kids. I know ATEEZ won, but for me, you know, iKON, they just bring the energy, they bring the fun. Bobby's always having such a good time. And they had Lisa, and I am a Blink, so I am biased. But Stray Kids also did Do 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 Do, which I love that song. I played it for my non-Kpop friends during our road trip this week. And they were like, what is this song? And I was like, it's Blackpink, the K-pop group from Korea.
Who said that? Who said what is this song?
Dennis. But I know, so like I don't really get any street cred from that. But he was like, what is this song?
Oh, it's so funny.
Anyways, I will edit that part out.
Oh, yeah.
But Stray Kids, they did a great version of Do 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 Do. I loved it with God's Menu, which is also one of my favorite like iconic K-pop songs. So I think it's between them and iKON for me for this challenge. I still really loved those. And I'm biased because it's Blackpink, but also I think I loved the Deadpool thing. I loved the energy they brought to Classy Savage. iKON did. So yeah, I think they just felt like they were having the most fun with it. And I like the fun. I like the energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have a lot of fun.
What was your favorite overall this challenge, Sid?
I don't really know. I think I enjoyed watching. I definitely rewatched The Boys the most. And Monster isn't even like my favorite EXO song. Like it's not usually one that I really enjoy, but maybe that's why I enjoyed seeing The Boys do it, is because it's not my favorite EXO song. I love The Boys. So there's that. My problem with Classy Savage was fun. It was great, but the feature, because they didn't interact with Lisa at all, I don't even know that they filmed them on the same days.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure they did it.
Yeah, it took away from me because I was like, she featured, but like it was just for her star power. Like I would have wanted to see her interact with them in some way to make it like a real feature. Because since that I didn't want to count it towards them performing because it wasn't them, it was Lisa, which is Lisa's Lisa. And like they were able to get her on their stage, but because she wasn't a part of their performance or them doing things, I was like, I don't really necessarily feel like I can count her towards their success in it. But if I can say that, like, at least when ATEEZ did Ode Joy, like they were performing to the choir while they were singing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. B2B, it just wasn't my thing. I knew you would love it because it's very much your thing, like the whole musical and like La La Land specifically. Like that's not really my vibe. So like, could see what they did. I also like that they switched it up and didn't try to compete directly, doing the same kind of like choreo and routines that the other groups did, but still doing it big. Like I respect that. I will say that it kind of it brought back, like, the musical stage always makes me think of previous performances though, because we've seen iKON do that with their song before.
Yeah, Love Scenario, they did a great job with that one.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know, I had comparisons in my head, and when I think that, I'm like, but again, I had comparisons in my head when I was watching the boys do Monster, because I watched the EXO music video right after, and I was like, that's where the snake comes in.
Yeah.
Got it now. So yeah, but the Marvel reference by Stray Kids was really cool. Love that Ryan Reynolds sent he sent Bangchan the signed gin bottle and was like, from one Australian to another. Cute.
Who said from Australian to another?
Ryan Reynolds.
Wow. He's so funny. He's not even Australian.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. He was like,
he's funny.
Something
He's
about
such a
my
shit
favorite
poster.
Australian.
I love him.
It was funny.
He's just
and then
best.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know whether it was Bangchan or Felix, if I'm honest, because I don't know, but one of them posted an entire V-Live just wearing the Deadpool mask and talking like Deadpool at the camera. It's being really hyper. It was funny.
I would probably freak
because it was on Twitter.
You think it was Felix?
I think it was
he's about to be
Bangchan.
my bias as I start my stay journey.
Yeah, Felix is my bias in Stray Kids. I love Felix. He's so cute.
I don't have a bias.
So cute.
Yeah. Love Stray Kids though. That's so funny. I think I would freak out too if Ryan Reynolds like sent me a bottle and was like, from one American to another, even though he's not even American. He's Canadian, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I would love that.
He's so funny. All right, you guys ready to do some reactions? So first we have Everglow's latest comeback, First. Ooh.
That was
like
cool.
The sets. Yeah.
Yes. This is cool.
Oh, wow. Speaking of drama. Ooh.
It's interesting.
I love these costumes.
Her hair looks like Alexa. You guys know who Alexa is?
No. This is a group I've been hearing a lot about on the girl group side of Twitter that I've been needing to look at, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, for some reason I got They don't have any correlation, but I got their name confused with like Dreamcatcher. I don't know why.
Their costumes are giving me Avatar. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender meets 90s wide leg pants.
Meets Jinko. What are they called?
Not
Jinkos.
More like what?
Jinkos.
I mean, yes, Jinko jeans, but like more like what TLC was wearing in the Waterfalls video.
True. I'm pretty sure TLC probably did
Jinko jeans
top some
too.
jeans. I kind of love some jeans.
Anybody who is anybody had a pair of Jinko jeans.
Yeah.
But I love seeing girl groups do these harder concepts now. I feel like it's becoming more normal for them to do that. And it just shows you how hard that they worked on the dancing, you know. They oftentimes train with the boys and have to go as hard as they do, but then we sometimes don't end up seeing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
The song is giving me like NCT.
Yeah.
But like good NCT. Like girl NCT, which is kind of cool.
I love those red outfits.
Now I can't unsee a collab between them and NCT, but I will say it's glorious in my mind. They should do a collab stage. That'd be sick.
That'd be lit.
Yeah, is there any collabs between boy groups and girl groups? Or no?
Yeah.
I watched the boys
Really?
and Weasley, I think, do a crap
Yeah,
collab.
for Blinding Lights.
But yeah, there hasn't been a lot of special stages lately. Miss those.
COVID.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's because of COVID. They don't want the groups mingling together.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
I loved that. That was
I liked
very
their
cool. I really liked the choreography. I liked the energy they brought to it. I loved the costumes. It felt very much like a video that normally would be given to a boy group. So it was really cool to see a girl group get that opportunity.
Yeah.
Again, I will say my favorite part was definitely their costuming.
Yeah. Those were lit. All right, next.
I like the harnesses.
Oh,
More
yeah.
girls in harnesses. More girls in harnesses.
We like the strappy, dramatic sci-fi costume.
Yeah.
Those are always sick. I love them. Okay, next we have GWSN, Like It Hot.
Like it hot.
Ooh.
Is that their girl crush?
GWSN?
Yeah, I think we watched their sub unit last time.
Is that
That's
WJSN?
That was WJSN. This is GWSN. Never mind, separate group.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, are they a part of the same?
I know, that was... The fans will get it bad, but I feel like that's a legit one to get confused about.
Yeah. I forgot what this hairstyle is called, but I like it.
Oh, the Heim haircut?
Yeah. Are they calling it Heim after the band?
Yeah, because they wore it to the Grammys.
Oh, that's interesting.
Nobody's got, like, I don't think there's a real name for it yet. But I've seen K-pop groups doing it for longer than Heim.
Yeah, it's definitely not even K-pop, just like that culture. I see it a lot.
Yeah, I've
I
seen
was
it.
right. That's the girl
Amber Blue trendsetter. I love the set in this video. Also, there's a lot of powerful bangs in this group.
Yeah, true.
I love it. I like these kind of low bassy choruses that have been popular recently. The hair light. And there's a body roll in the choreo, you know? Always a fan. This feels like a witchy anime opening, you know, like let's say witch girls in like a school. Yeah, just that one section. I like some of the Vogue influence in the choreo too. Okay, I liked that.
That was good.
What'd you think, Sid?
It's not really my vibe, but I can see like it's good. Like it's good. It's just not my thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally understand. All right, this might be a little bit more your thing though, because it's one of your favorites. We've got Gaho's new song, Rush Hour.
Love Gaho. I will say he went a little more like pop rock with this one than I anticipated.
너에게 직진하려 해봐도
Cute though.
길에 놓여버려도 It's alright, alright, it's alright It's alright, alright, alright 너에게 빙빙 돌려 말라고 넌
I like how he starts shaking his head and we're like,
It's alright, alright, alright 못돼 난 괜찮아 모두들 너의
Did you find the one traffic jam in Korea with only white people?
That's yeah.
I'm kidding. Oh, there we go.
His band.
Cute. Reminds me of something from like 2005, like All American Rejects.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's shot like that too. It has a very, or you could tell they're trying to emulate a distinctly 2005 look, like in music. You see what I'm talking about? It was one shot they had when that guy was out looking out the window on the bus. His
They gave me a
band
little
member.
like 182, a little like, but like the fun ones, not really like the angry ones, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
don't know,
loved
something
that
about
when I would love that when I was little. Really into that.
I don't know what it is. Maybe because it looks so close. I think they should bring back the way that music videos 2005 were shot.
Yeah, but
How
then
they
you watch
look.
some of them and they're a little dated. But
Some of them are, it's like an appeal to it for some reason, like nostalgia.
yeah, I think the way this video is handling it is really good though.
Yeah. It's, I don't know how you refer to it, but it's always very close. Like the frame is, it's like,
Close or tight, that would work.
yeah. It's, I don't know.
But yeah, this reminds me a lot of Gives You Hell by the All American Rejects. You remember that song?
Yeah.
I
I never
love
saw the
that
video.
song. Oh, the video was like real cute. I used to think Tyson Ritter, the singer, was so cute.
The song is so mean. The video was cute. Damn.
I mean, it's like cutesy, like mean, you know? Not like cute, like it's sweet, you know? It's like,
Right.
it's like a wink and a nod, you know?
for the neo soul influenced soft rock that was popular in the early 2000s to come back too.
Yeah, I mean that's more my kind of thing, but I think this is really sweet. It definitely
This is good.
It's like definitely like summer song, roll down the windows on the highway kind of thing. I love that.
This is a song. I would listen to this song, even if it's not like type of music. I would listen to it because it's fun.
Yeah, it's
But
like when
I'd
I'm like,
say-
it reminds me of like, there was like I always was kind of like a little edgy for One Direction, but if you play What Makes You Beautiful, I will go hard. If you play Best Song Ever, I will fuck it up. And this song kind of
Or
reminded me.
You and I.
Yeah. You and I is not the vibe of this song though, but yeah, I did like that song. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I say we make all the rounds. If we're bringing back all the genres from that era, how about you just bring back all of it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, for sure. Next, this one I'm very excited for. I mean, I've seen it already. I saw it the minute it came out, but it is the live video from Joy's new solo album, Hello, and the song is called Je t'aime.
It's exciting. I've not seen this shit. This is a very popular look in K-pop.
Yeah, it's a little washed out for me.
Oh, really? I love this kind of thing.
Oh, I like it too. They're like glowing from the inside out.
Yeah.
Such a dreamy.
Yeah, so what they're doing is like a pretty harsh. Actually, no, they're probably lighting this mostly with soft boxes, I think, and then putting a diffusion filter on the lens.
Yeah. Yeah. Love a diffusion filter. This is really crazy to me. It's interesting seeing what looks are popular with what kind of artists. Oh, that was
It's also perfect for Joy. She's got a little bit of that Disney princess vibe, especially here.
Yeah. I noticed it was popular with Wendy too. In her last
Yeah, and
like walk.
Gary solo was kind of like that too, Dear Diary. So cute.
Whereas the boys, not the boys, like the boys like
Yeah.
like boy groups, it's like a lot more saturated, like it's like more sharp.
Even when they do soft concepts, it's still like not as pastel. Except for Astro sometimes when they do that. I like that when Astro does it.
All night, gorgeous video.
They make me so happy. They're just a sweet group.
And then they gave us none of that sweetness with this last comeback.
I know, but I liked it. I love seeing them change it up,
Yeah. I didn't recognize them personally. I'm reading these lyrics. This is so cute.
I know. And then
Is her whole album like this?
it's kind of like there's a little bit more variety, but they're all kind of like sweet love songs. But some of the looks of the other teasers have been kind of like a scene at the sea, kind of like girls in the bus. Yeah, you'd like it a lot, Skylar, I think. That's definitely very much Joy's vibe.
Which is so funny because whenever she's in the group, she's like the hot girl.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh,
Sexy Dynamite.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she knows she's
like
hot too.
glowing,
That's the
just
other funny thing.
So
True.
Like she's all like sweet and stuff, but she knows she's like hot.
Yeah.
She knows she's hot.
It's so funny you said that today because I think that's why I was a little surprised watching it too. Because her role in the group is like so different.
She has a beautiful voice, though.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm in Princess Diaries.
I know.
Our childhood. Bring back Princess Films. And not Disney Channel.
Just starts raining.
Aww, that is so cute.
Yeah, I kind of really dig the vibe of this album. Last but certainly not least, we have Woo-Ah and their new song Purple.
Oh, cool name.
Woo-Ah.
Oh, I see.
Interesting opening. They went in with the CGI. I like that pink room.
Oh, that's cool.
I like that pyramid area. I like their outfits. Change it from mini to Wumbo. Yeah, these the group outfits that they're all wearing. I like those. Those ones. Oh wow, that's a big bunny.
Interesting. We don't see much of the choreography.
Yeah. Now we see it, of course, once you mention it. Girl groups are doing a lot of these computer-themed videos lately. Like, we're on social media and we're typing. That's cute.
That's cute. Thanks, Woo-Ah.
Woo-ah. Woo-ah.
Fun to say.
I know, right? Woo-ah. Well, that's it for today's episode of SOCS. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like and a subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Oh yeah, we're not posting on Twitch, but when we come back for a live episode, definitely follow us on Twitch so you don't miss that. And follow us on Twitter so you don't miss any updates or memes. And I will see you, well, we will see you next week. Bye!